Hello, Brobs. We're back with We Gather Together, the story of Thanksgiving by Ralph and Adelin, Linton. We pick up on the chapter on Squanto. What was it? What's it called? Pretty long chapter. Short pages, though. Squanto, a neglected hero. And we'll pick up at this point right here. The pilgrims could face the coming winter in the knowledge that they would have adequate shelter. There were 11 houses along the village street that autumn, 7 private dwellings and 4 community buildings. This was hardly luxurious quarters for 50 persons, but to many of the company who had been forced to live aboard the Mayflower until the 21st of March, 4 months after they had first set foot on land, to have a home of any kind on solid ground was a great joy. House building was a laborious process, for they were not experienced carpenters and had only the most essential of tools. Their houses were not log cabins, it must be remembered. The log cabin, which we are accustomed to thinking of as standard wilderness architecture, was unknown in the New World until the Swedes and Finns who settled along the Delaware brought the pattern with them. The Pilgrims struggled along with houses of wattle and daub, with steep thatched roofs like those they had known in England. The colonists had cause for thanksgiving in that they had established friendly relations with their savage neighbors and could walk as peaceably and safely in the woods as in the highways of England. That spring, shortly before Governor Carver's death, the colonists made a formal treaty of peace with Massasoit, or is it Massasoit? The first arrangements were made with Squanto as go-between. Massasoit, his brother Quina, and a large company of braves arrived on the appointed day, but halted on a hill on the other side of the brook. From the Pilgrim settlement, they demanded that an envoy be sent to them. Edward Winslow was selected as a courageous and diplomatic young man. Winslow presented to the Sagamore the greetings of his governor and also of King James of England. This made less impression than the gifts of jewelry, knives, biscuits, and butter, and firewater, which Winslow had also brought. Leaving Winslow as a hostage with the red man on the hill, Massasoit and a small escort crossed the brook and proceeded to the house where the parley was to take place. Behind him marched Miles Standish and his company of 18 soldiers in full regalia, with trumpet and drum sounding the martial note, a tribute which caused Massasoit to tremble with terror. Bradford recorded the following description of Massasoit at this parley. In his person he was a very lusty man, in his best years, an able body, grave of countenance and spare of speech, in his attire little or nothing differing from the rest of his followers, only in a great chain of white bone beads about his neck, and at it behind his neck hangs a little bag of tobacco. His face was painted a sad red like murrey, and oiled both head and face that it looked greasily. With Squanto and Samoset as interpreters, Governor Carver and Massasoit worked out the terms of the treaty as follows: that neither he, Massasoit, nor any of his should injure or do hurt to any of our people. And if any of his did hurt to any of ours, he should send the offender that he might punish him. That if any of our tools were taken away when our people were at work, he should cause them to be restored, and if ours did any harm to any of his, we should do the like to them. For if any did unjustly were against him, we would aid him. If any did war against us, he would aid us. 5. He should send to his neighbor confederates to certify them of this, that they might not wrong us, but might be likewise comprised in the condition of peace. 6. That when their men came to us, they should leave their bows and arrows behind them, as we should do our pieces when we came to them. I'm assuming that's gun. Though this was an oral treaty with puffs upon Massasoit's peace pipe taking the place of seals and signatures, it stands as one of the most successful non-aggression pacts in history, wrought by a handful of white men with one of the most powerful chieftains of New England. Bradford, in recording these events 24 years later, said that this treaty had never been broken. And if I had known that I only had like 2 pages left, I would have just read them the other day, but I did not. So there we go. Now that chapter's over. Maybe I should just record the whole damn thing over. Anyway, that's a